Good evening. Good evening. I am so excited to be kicking off MaCCNO Presents Duets, which is our COVID-era version of our annual MaCCNO party and celebration and fundraiser. Like everything else, it is a little different this year. I am so grateful to be here at the Hi-Ho, and we are going to have a wonderful conversation with these two amazing musicians who I will introduce in one moment. My name is Hannah Kreiger-Benson. I do programs and research for MaCCNO. I've been with MaCCNO since the very beginning, and it is mind-bending to think that it's been 8 years in the way that time has sort of melted. This year in particular, it's just really crazy to think that it has now been 8 years for MaCCNO. In the spirit of this being a fundraiser, I'm going to lay out the different ways that you can donate, and any contribution is so welcome and so appreciated and helps us do our work going into 2021. We are on PayPal at Music Culture 504, that's the numbers 504, Cash App, $ Music Culture 504, and then our website, MaCCNO.com, MaCCNO.com. So with all of that, I want to introduce our wonderful guests for tonight. We have Joy Clark and we have Arsène, and we are going to be basically just having a conversation and kind of checking in at this moment, this sort of this moment that none of us could have imagined a year ago at MaCCNO 7. MaCCNO 8 exists in a world that was beyond any of our imaginations. So, with that being said, I'm going to let these wonderful folks introduce themselves and talk about their backstory and their roots and what their musical careers were like in the before times, back before COVID. Joy, I guess we'll start with you.
Sure. Hi, my name is Joy Clark. I am a guitarist, a singer-songwriter, and I grew up on the West Bank. I grew up in church. I started playing music in church. I remember probably one of my first memories, I was 5 years old at church, and I saw the guitarist, and it was something about the guitar. I think I knew the guitar was sexy before I knew what it was, before I knew what sexy was, and but I told my parents, I said, I want a guitar, like I just something in me, I knew I could do it. So long story short, they finally bought me a guitar, and I tinkered out different things. I learned how to play folk songs and pretty much self-taught. And I started playing by ear, playing songs on the radio like by Sade and Tracy Chapman and Jewel and just folks like that. Sean Colvin. I was in love with Sean Colvin. So I just kind of progressed, graduated from the University of New Orleans. And about when I was about to graduate, I started to gig, and I started to play small shows, and I started accompanying singers. And I realized I might actually be good at this. So I kept going, and long story short, I was blessed to play with Cyril Neville and to tour with him in South Africa and in Ghana, and just all kind of different awesome opportunities. And my catalog started to grow, and I started playing my own sets, and I was featured at the Ogden Museum in 2019, which was a big deal for me. And let's see, I was invited to play at French Quarter Fest, and I was invited to play at Jazz Fest this year. And the rug was kind of pulled from under me, and yeah.
That was one hell of a rug.
It was a big rug. I probably left a whole lot of things out, but I mean, it's. I guess I was okay. I think I got over it quick. I tried to find the silver lining. Like maybe I need to prepare more. Maybe I'll be better next year. Maybe I'll write like 10 more songs. And but I mean, I was just trying to mitigate the heartache because yeah, it's a big deal for Jazz Fest is a big deal. French Quarter Fest is a big deal, and I sort of hit a wall a little bit. I think I was okay for probably a month or so, and then I had to start to think, and I had to begin to adjust, and I'm still adjusting, and now we're here.
Indeed we are. Indeed we are. My name is Arsène Delay. Let me think, where to start. I spent a lot of time all over the place because my father is military. So I left the States when I was 5. I was 5? I can't remember. It was either 5 or 6, and spent a good chunk of my formative years in Europe, which was great because my aunt, who many of you know as Lillian Boutte, was living over there, so I got to see her on the regular. And I lived over there for a while, came back to the States, moved around a bunch of stuff. But I've been playing music since I was, I started piano when I was 3, and I mean, singing was just a normal thing. Music was a very normal thing, and I don't remember, I think we may have been in Texas or something, when I went to a friend's house who didn't have a piano, or there wasn't music present in the house, and I found that odd. So it was something that was always present in my life, around my family. We always sang, there was always instruments. When I started out on piano, when I was 18, my father bought me my first guitar, and I'm self-taught too. Because I think I started learning music so early on. Like I took piano lessons and everything, but I was so young that even though I knew the music theory, I like technically knew it, but didn't realize how much I knew it, and had kind of gotten stuck to the point where I could only play if there was sheet music in front of me. So when I switched to guitar, the thing is I couldn't necessarily translate, the neck of the guitar with the notes, but I could hear everything. Yeah. So that got me out of that particular block. And I mean, I've been singing all my life. Matter of fact, this year, prior to COVID, things were going really, really well, and then COVID hit, and I lost 32 gigs, a European tour, and a very special festival in MaCCNO, Switzerland, because my very first sit-in was when I was 8 years old on my Aunt Lillian's set. And wow. There's a picture that hangs in my hallway of that first time. And then I returned to that festival back in 2006, right after Katrina, singing backing vocals with my cousin for her. And this past summer, I was going to be headlining the MaCCNO Jazz Fest. So it was a very special full circle that did not happen, that was taken away. And it's been a time, to put it lightly.
Yeah.
It has been such a time.
Such a damn time.
I feel like this happens, like, you hear people talk about all the things that have been lost in COVID time, the list of gigs, the list of, now we're seeing music venues start to close. Before we get all the way, I guess, into sort of delving into what COVID has brought or taken away for everybody, I do just also want to acknowledge how special and unusual it is to have any sort of representation or discussion in music and have it be a stage full of people who are not male identifying.
Look at that. We sure as hell do exist now, don't we?
That is a moment that I want, MaCCNO does a lot working with.
Remember that.
Remember this. We talk a lot about equity and access and all of these things, and gender is just one in music that's always near the top of my brain. We've all had that experience. Anyways, wanted to not let that kind of slide on past, because that is something that's so special.
I'm so glad you didn't.
It's so special.
So glad.
So you guys already both sort of mentioned like the pivot into this time, this like strange blob of a year. In some ways it feels like it's still just the week after Mardi Gras. Like we've just sort of lost 8 months, like they've collapsed into nothing.
It's true.
Leaving aside, I guess we should acknowledge what's been lost. But also I want to, I guess, think about what has been found, what has been gained, what's been explored, like what has the creative practice started to look like in this time, and what new things have you discovered?
I have discovered that during this COVID time, I am a lot less of a perfectionist. I am a perfectionist, and I'm a Virgo. I'm a true Virgo. I'm on time all the time. I'm a perfectionist. If something is a little bit off, I just want to throw it away. And it usually has to do with myself. But I found with COVID, it's made me meditate a little bit more, and I've done, like, my first live video I did was maybe in May or so. It was with Live Oak Cafe, and it was a really great experience because I was playing like and singing like nobody was watching me, and I think I'm getting past that mental block that happens with us sometimes, where you feel like you have to hold a room, or you have to do this to keep people there, or you're like, it's great to have people physically there, but I think practicing playing like nobody's in the room is really great, because you're just playing to enjoy yourself. And I think, I think this whole pandemic for that, it can go on now. But it's like, I've learned a lesson, all right, get on. But I released a single. Actually, I wrote my single, Never Change, a week before lockdown. And the song is about, I was asked to do this storytelling event called Sanctuary. And my partner can tell you, I was, like, I'm used to getting on stage and, playing a song or playing a love song, and then like, it's fine. I'm good, but I had to talk about queerness and spirituality, and it was really personal. And so I freaked out for a good 3 weeks. Like, why did I say yes?
Oh, because you were freaking out about being vulnerable.
I was freaking out about being vulnerable. And I was like, oh man. So I took that anxiety about speaking in front of people, about I was so scared of getting blocked and just not being able to express myself. And so I wrote a song called Never Change, and it's about stepping out of your comfort zone, having faith in your own story, and telling that story. You're probably going to be afraid, you're probably going to be nervous, but you still share, and you still speak your truth. So Never Change was, it's not about COVID, but it's about a growth
that happened.
It's about a growth that happened exactly a week before COVID.
Yes, indeed.
So, yeah.
I think that it's been, I don't know, it's been a hell of a 6 months for me personally. I kept on trying. I'm a grinder. I'm a hustler. I hustle. I stay steady on the grind. I've always been that way, and I had to learn to stop. Even after, my last gig was March 14th, and even after that, like for 2.5 months, I was still steady on the grind. I was like, no, I'm gonna do live stream, and I was doing it every Monday, and constantly putting it out there because I wanted to give the people that I love, my fans, my friends, the people who come to see me all the time, I wanted to give them some taste of normalcy or some little reprise from the complete and utter chaos that was going on around us. And so I kept giving and giving until I was empty. And in that emptiness, I continued to try to continue the grind, and I started having mental health problems. And the thing about like my relationship with mental health has often been me being the one who calls it out in the people that I love. I'm like, this, you ain't right, and we need an intervention of some sort. It was never me the one who was having the issue, and then all of a sudden it was. Mm-hmm. And I'm grateful for my tribe because my tribe doesn't play. And they were like, oh no, something's not right. And so I started having to address that. And there's a lot of rage, righteous rage. We were all busting our asses out here trying to, do our thing, trying to be ourselves, trying to, live our life and make something for ourselves. Mm-hmm. And it literally was taken away from an entire city where that's what we do. We are a city of givers. We give everything, even to our own detriment. Mm-hmm. We had a hot spot situation because of the amount that we give to people that were coming to get something without taking care of us. And so I had to really, really investigate and learn the concept of radical self-care. And I mean, so radical that it pisses people off, that it makes people mad when you set boundaries. And, and giving yourself space, giving yourself permission to not participate in the grind culture because to rest is revolutionary, to take the space for yourself, to give yourself time to grieve, whether it was the life that you had created for yourself that was taken away. And especially for me, I mean, I lost an extraordinary amount of people in this. I lost elders, I lost mentors, I lost dear friends, I almost lost family members to this. And I needed, you have to give yourself that space to grieve and to process this extraordinary thing that's happening, that's collective. Even though, New Orleans is no stranger to adversity. It's different, but giving that's what this has been. This has been a time for me to I've written, but I have not really put myself out there in public. I'm not trying to hustle I'm not trying to hurry up and finish a project. I'm not doing it. I am learning how to be comfortable sitting still. yeah. And I'm still navigating that. But to sit still and to just be in it and breathe that's been my lesson so far.
And we don't have a choice right now.
And we don't have a choice.
And for anyone who is just tuning in, we're talking about mental health, we're talking about festival gigs, we're talking about comfort zones, we're touching on gender identity. What else could it be? It's MaCCNO 8. MaCCNO presents Duets. This is the first in a series, a 4-week series of just incredible. I've been calling them stars of the New Orleans musical Milky Way, and we get 2 of them each week here at the Hi-Ho. Huge thanks to the Hi-Ho. And we get to just have a conversation and, like Arsène said, just sit and be, which is not something that a lot of us often get to do. And I just want to briefly go ahead and reiterate, because this is our annual fundraiser instead of the amazing party that we, had hoped to have and have had in past years. If you would like to support us, we are so grateful, and we are on PayPal at musicculture504. Cash App is $musicculture504, and then our website has a big donate button, MaCCNO.com, MaCCNO.com. And again, I am Hannah with MaCCNO, and I'm here with Arsène Delay and Joy Clark, and we're just talking, and it's amazing. And one thing that kind of occurred to me as you guys were speaking is just this idea, again, of how sort of unimaginable this time is, like doing things that you could never have conceptualized, that, your 2019 self would think you were tripping, that your Mardi Gras self in this year would literally think that you were on acid if you tried to describe some of the things from this year. So I guess just in a maybe more a lighthearted direction or something, I wanted to, in the spirit of sort of having smashed all of the norms that we knew, what are some other non-music related changes or habits or hobbies that quarantine has brought? Or just surprising discoveries or books that you've read or anything like that?
I'll go first. So I think there we go. At the beginning of lockdown, me and my partner, she knows how to samba. So we would have samba school in the backyard. Yes. Mid-city, we'd just be in the backyard. Yes. So I can samba a little bit. I try to do it, and I think I've gotten better over the last 7 months. But so samba, what else do I do? What do I do? I don't know. I don't know what I do. I watch a lot more Netflix, random shows. I've been playing my guitar more, actually, and writing different types of songs. I will always love songs, and I'm just good at it. I can do a love song, and I love doing love songs. But I've also been writing. Yeah,
no lies detected right here. No lies detected on that, man.
No, I was making.
That girl could write a love song.
Woo! I was making a joke. I sat down I was feeling moody and feeling kind of I wanted to write something that was kind of deep, and I sat down and I played this melody, and I was like, oh, that's a wedding song. So I started writing this really pretty love song that I can't wait till I finish it. But I've been kind of exploring just being a little bit more reflective, I guess, or writing from a different point of view, trying not to use I so much, trying to do some different perspectives. But I don't do it all the time. I'm easy on myself. I don't try to force it.
Just easing out of your comfort zone a little bit.
Easing out of the comfort zone. I went on a road trip. I've always wanted to take a road trip. And in June, me and Camille we took a really long road trip. We went to Austin, we went to Albuquerque, Farmington, New Mexico. My sister and her family lives there. We went to the Grand Canyon, Las Vegas, LA, Monterey, California. So I've always wanted to take a road trip, and it came at the time of protests. And so we called it protest travel, because I've always been afraid of driving through these small towns.
Sure.
You know, being a black woman, being a black
Rightfully
woman.
so.
Rightfully so. But I mean, it was like, when are we gonna have this time to not do anything? She was furloughed, and we were like, come on, we actually have money. Let's take a trip. Let's take a road trip. So hopefully we'll take another one. But that's another thing that came out of COVID, you know?
I've laid my guitar down for quite some time. I play it on occasion, but I've been able to give time to the other things that I was trying to squeeze in the midst of the grind. I love gardening, so I got my gardening certificate. My gardener certificate, I was trying to get a grower's license, but we couldn't do it in person, or because we couldn't do the in-person classes.
Okay.
So working on that, working on growing my own food and learning how to do it in a way that is portable so that I can show other people to do it, because I think food insecurity is something that needs to heavily be addressed and can be addressed. It's a very achievable thing. I'm also I work with Waterwise Gulf South, and so I advocate a lot for green infrastructure and trying to push that on the policy end, because that's something the city desperately needs and should also pay attention to. Plus, I think it could actually fix other issues that have come up. And reading, you know, I've tried meditating. I've like successfully been a failure at meditation for years now, because my ass just can't figure out how to sit still. And so actually this like happened within like the last week or two. I actually successfully like finished a 45-minute guided meditation, and I was like, yeah. So that was really exciting. I'm still working on just being still, stuff like that. But
yeah,
getting a lot of reading done. You know, it's been a beautiful time. I've to have a lot of quality time with my little four-legged creatures and my partner. Like, you know, we just, you know, we do real good together, and we know how to find the laughter and find, you know, the comedy in the dumpster fire that's outside the window.
Yeah. I feel like if you can laugh about it.
So, I mean, yeah, he definitely helps with that. But, and I mean, my latest endeavor is, of course, getting people out to vote. Please, no, not please, no, go and do it. Just do it. Go and do it. So I've been pushing the voting effort, you know, helping folks who don't feel comfortable going to the post office or having their ballots dropped off, doing that too. So I'm feeling very driven by the, by I think very necessary like advocacy work that needs to happen right now, and by the social justice, like doing like the really, just doing the really arduous work behind the scenes, you know, trying to affect policy, trying to affect the power of the pen.
And as a little PSA, early voting is happening now in New Orleans.
Right now.
She just told you, go vote.
I sure did. I highly recommend the Smoothie King Center. They got a lot of machines over there. And free parking, too.
And according to Facebook, it looks fun. People are posting pictures of voting, and it's fun, and it's community-minded.
It's nice and lofty. There's no, like, I mean, little, you know, I love the Office of the Registrar. Like, all those ladies know me in there because I've been there so much. But, you know, that's a long hallway, and I know that they have lines out there and stuff, but I'm telling you, like, 15, 20 minutes tops, Smoothie King Center. And if you aren't, you know, a 9 to 5 or 8 to 5, or if you don't have to try and hustle there before work, if you go in the middle of the day, no, wait.
Go vote.
Go vote.
Go vote.
Okay, so speaking of sort of policy or more kind of like city level things, you know, New Orleans has had kind of a very specific journey through COVID. Like you said, there was an early hotspot. Our mayor and our governor have, you know, really had a lot to contend with. What has y'all's experience been, I guess, with the different phases of sort of things being shut down? Like, you know, what do you think could be different or better? Where have you sort of, I don't know, run up against stuff? This is more of the
Arsène. Okay.
That's you, boo.
All right. Feel free to interrupt me. Okay, just
Okay.
so like I know this is my wheelhouse. So the biggest issue, I think, well, there's several things. First off, you know, I know there's a lot of people that get real salty about the mayor in regards to restrictions and stuff. What they're not realizing is that those are actually state imposed by the governor. Mm-hmm. And because of the studies that have been done in regards to choirs and singers and how quickly the spread happened in church choirs and on music festival stages in January and February, you know, the problem is that any vocalist or any musician that uses their breath could potentially be, that could be a super spreading event. Yeah. And so it's really hard to enact policy. On top of that, you know, it's also hard to enact any kind of policies in regards to opening up when people aren't doing the right thing, i.e. wearing a goddamn mask. If everybody wore a mask, like, we could actually be doing some things. I'm sitting there watching my cousin in Norway who's doing socially distant festivals again. And here we are, just still chilling in the house.
Behind.
Because of the number one thing, like this can save lives. This can actually make things come back. Now, on the other hand, you know, I think before I go any further, I'm going to say it's very difficult. Like, this is complicated. It's very, very complicated. You know, we've been in countless Zoom meetings on the weekly trying to advocate for musicians and the music scene and this, that, and the other. But the fact of the matter is, when you're talking to, you know, the corporate suits about stuff, you know, you have to, when you're talking to non-musicians or non-culture art folk, they only understand what music does if it has a price tag attached to it. Because music in New Orleans is usually looped in with the hospitality industry. Yeah. So we're looked at as a whole. And the thing is that they're trying to deal with the frontline workers of said hospitality industry, which have very real consequences. I mean, the people who are cleaning the bathrooms, who are working at the hotels, who are making food, because there's a very real danger, especially of community spread when it comes to them. So they're all heavily focused on that. And the musicians we tend to get pushed by the wayside. And it's frustrating because there's so many of us who are also trying to advocate and ask for money. But the fact of the matter is that the city doesn't have it. And we're in a really precarious position right now because the hospitality industry accounts for about 5.6% of New Orleans GDP. And you have the entire, so a lot of the big wigs in tourism, they are advocating for specifically the convention center in the French Quarter because that's where they see the dollar signs. They don't necessarily, give a shit about Main Street. I mean, I'm just being honest, They're not necessarily caring about, the rest of us who are on the fringe of the people, like the neighborhood and the people who support these neighborhood spots. So we've got that problem. And the other issue is that everybody's trying to ask for money. And even though, and New Orleans, also, mind you, New Orleans is also the economic hub of the entire state.
Yeah.
So everyone's trying to ask for money when 5.9% of the GDP relies on tourism. And that 5.9% area, that whole crew, was literally brought to its knees weeks before its busiest season. So everyone's asking for money, but we ain't got no money. And everyone's frustrated because we are a major chunk of the money makers of not only the city, but the state. And the thing is, we deserve to be saved. But in all honesty, what needs to happen is we need federal intervention. We need federal funds.
Yeah.
We need federal funds.
So go vote.
And y'all know that that's probably going to not be the case with this regime.
So
That's why y'all need to go vote.
Go vote.
Exactly.
So we can get some people who actually value arts and culture and understand that the venues and the stages and the arts need to be saved, because everywhere else in the world, I mean, you look at France, you look at Spain, Italy, Greece, all of them federally funded, federally supported. They have flooded the culture and the arts to keep them afloat in this particular time.
Mm-hmm. And not even just overseas. I wanted to throw in that Austin recently passed a thing that designated, I might get this slightly wrong, but I believe it's $5 million or $10 million in two different chunks specifically for venues in Austin.
Wow.
And the idea being that they're a sector that's been harder hit than almost any other because of all the things you're talking about, the specifics of culture and doing cultural things. So there are examples, and I also just wanted to thank you for that. That was amazing.
Thank you, Arsène.
For those of you following along at home, Ms. DeLay has given you a to-do list. It's short, but it's important. Wear a mask, go vote, and donate to MaCCNO. And I was also going to throw in
6 feet apart.
6 feet apart. If anybody wants to know more or get involved, I'm also going to just put out my MaCCNO email, which is programs@maccno.com. Please feel free to get in touch if you're curious about how to get more involved, how to learn more about advocacy, policy, programs, all the things, because the fact is everybody is overwhelmed right now. And the more people that we have, pitching in to do all the things that need doing, the better. And with that, I'll just do the MaCCNO donate pitch one more time. This is MaCCNO presents Duets. This is our version of MaCCNO 8 this year. It's this lovely, deep, intimate, reflective, rich conversation with Joy Clark and Arsène DeLay. This is the first of 4. They will be here at the Hi-Ho Lounge every Tuesday for the next 4 weeks, and the array of music and cultural guests is just wonderful. It's mind-blowing and also heartwarming. And if you want to support MaCCNO, please do. We need your support. Our PayPal is at musicculture504, Cash App $musicculture504, and our website maccno.com, MaCCNO. And I was sort of imagining this conversation as talking about the past, talking about pre-COVID time, the before times, and then talking about the present. And I also wanted to look towards the future, because eventually this pandemic will be over. When we're all 90, we're going to be talking and telling our grandkids or other people's grandkids about this crazy ass time that was just sort of this strange detour from normal life. So my question, I guess, is, kind of going back to the idea that all of the norms have been smashed, what are some ways that we can reimagine music and culture? Because at this point, sort of all the things that were normal limits are gone. So let's take this time and even just think, and that could be so many different things, in my ideal future world, it means, a culture landscape where female identifying musicians are more than, it's something like 16 or 20% currently total, and more than that. So that's, I don't know, that's a vision that I have. But what are some of the things? What are some of the obstacles that you would want to have gone? What are some of the...
A living wage.
That's pretty easy.
Take it away.
Yeah.
I want, imagine a culture and, a musical culture, or just imagine the culture actually being supported and respected, and cultivating an environment where we're not constantly preserving. We're not constantly trying to preserve something, I wish, I long for it to be, revered, and I long for right to work to be gone. I long for all of us to have a living wage, so that we could really be our best selves and actually live instead of continuously surviving. Yeah.
It took a pandemic to feel like I had time to actually sit and work on my craft instead of, grabbing for, pennies on a dollar, pennies.
Yeah.
And it's sad. It's really sad because this is a pandemic. It's not fun. And I can't play. I can play at home, but I feel more financially secure actually right now, which is wrong in every manner. It's wrong.
Yeah.
Something's not right.
Yeah, and I feel, that's what I want. I want a living wage. I want an environment where we are actually safe. I would like to return to a safe space. The thing is, I'm not interested in going back to what life was before the pandemic. I'm not interested in playing, 4-hour tourist trap gigs and getting harassed.
You mean you don't miss the drunks?
Hell no, I don't miss them. I don't mind the nice ones. It's just the nasty ones that are the worst. Ones. Have fun, but damn, be civil.
Definitely.
This
is just real.
But there's that. I would really like for there to be a return to community. Mm-hmm. I would really like one of the things that I have really loved about, or one of the good things that has come out of the pandemic that I've seen for me personally, is a lot of the vultures have kind of dissipated. It's just us. It's us right now, and we are really good at coming together when we need to do that. When all of this started, I was freaking out, and then I went to my elders and was just like, and they're like, hey, just turn it down. Mm-hmm. Go be in your garden. We're going to be all right. Mm-hmm. This is not the first or the last time we've had to survive something. Mm-hmm. And getting back to what that is, getting back to a stronger bond in the collective we, is something that I'm seeing and I hope continues, because the collective we is the group that survives.
Yeah.
And see.
I want to say thank you to some of the organizations that helped me stay afloat. National Performers Network, Jazz and Heritage Foundation.
Yes, Jazz and Heritage Foundation.
Antenna, the Ella Project. I know I'm missing somebody, but yeah, thank you.
MaCCNO.
MaCCNO. MaCCNO. For all you do for the community, yes. MaCCNO.
And on that note, one of the things that we are hoping to do is to relaunch our micro grant program. So if you're wondering about sort of, what your support goes to, among all of the other things that we try to do and try to work on, we had, pivoted to direct aid during this time. And we are hoping to have a robust second round of doing it again. And yeah, I mean, there's so many organizations that have sort of popped up into this gap, and it's really incredible. I mean, I was sort of reflecting the other day on just the total amount of money that was given out by organizations in the first 6 months. Yeah. Just so much.
Yes, community taking care of community. These are all, all of these local organizations that were really, looking out. And I mean, yeah, we couldn't, we would be struggling way more without them. So definitely big shout out to all the organizations, and forgive us for forgetting to mention them.
Somebody I probably forgot.
Yes. Always.
We have a little bit of time left, and I'm sort of loving these ideas of like imagining the world that we want to see. But I also wanted to kind of go back and, I don't know, if you could imagine like a conversation between your pre-pandemic self and the self like 8 months later, like, just the difference in terms of what you've learned and what we can even like dare to imagine. I was just sort of curious, like, what are some of the things that you think?
If my pre-pandemic self and current self had a conversation, like, wait, who's starting the conversation? Because that's who starts the conversation. Like, is it pre-pandemic trying to talk to?
Well, I guess I'm imagining like your current self. Thinking about all the things that your pre-pandemic self didn't know, kind of going back to what we were talking about, just the things that we've learned, the things that we've gained, the things that have been lost, the things that we've let go of. Like, how would you sort of sum up this last 8 months / 20 years / 1 week that we've all had?
If my current self was going to talk to my pre-pandemic self in like the first week, I'd be like, bitch, slow down. Slow down. You are not going to get all the things done. Just stop. just stop.
Yeah. No, that's the same. I remember I was stressing about my French Quarter Fest and Jazz Fest sets. And I would just be like, yeah, you good. Just chill. Chill out.
Oh my God, I gotta go write all the other things. I'm gonna do all the things.
Chill out.
Yeah.
I gotta I have to send my stage plot. I gotta do this. I had just signed the contract. I would say just you're not in control of anything right now, and you sure as hell won't be in control of anything in a couple months. So
yeah.
I love that so much. It's true though. I mean, it's this idea of letting go of all the things that we thought we had control of. It's insane. Something I think a lot about also is young musicians coming up now, and I think a lot about young female identifying musicians and just sort of like what they have to look to. So in sort of a totally different vein, pandemic aside, what would you tell some young women or girls who are wanting to, believe that they can find their income and also their sense of self in the arts?
I would tell them, learn, if you don't know the business of show, now is the time. Now is the time to learn about how to form an LLC. Now is the time to learn about how to create your own publishing company. Now is the time to learn about licensing. Start building, start working on get yourself ready for the residual income that you deserve. That's like, get your paperwork in order, get your stuff copywritten, get your stuff licensed, get it all out, anything that your stuff that you've written, get the paperwork straight on all of it. Get your paperwork straight, period. Because when it comes down to times like this, that's when you will thank yourself, because all of the, all of the grants, all of the relief aid, all of the paperwork and the applications, when you have that paperwork all straight and settled, it makes the process so much easier.
Yes.
Keep lists, keep calendars. Yeah, that's what I would tell them. And if you just started on your instrument, practice. And if you don't feel the need to practice, the business part of it is really, really important.
That's big. That's big. I would say trust your own voice. Don't let folks pigeonhole you into their imagination of what you should be or what you should sound like or what genre you should be in, and do what you're good at. And if people don't like it, do what you're good at.
Yeah, you're right.
Trust your voice.
I love that so much. I love that so much.
Hey. Took me a while.
I feel like today we've kind of been weaving through time. We've talked about past, we've talked about the present pandemic moment, we've talked about the future. And it is just, I don't know, it's such a joy to sit here
I
and
love
talk.
puns.
Such a joy.
See?
Yes.
To sit here and talk with you guys. I guess I wanted to go back to the before time, though, and give you guys each a little bit more time to just talk about what your musical career was. Like, that musical career and that life has not, it might be sort of on pause in various different ways and have had to change, but it's not gone. And I want to, honor that. So just, I don't know, you talked about love songs, we talk about influences, talk about, favorite musical moments, talk about, I don't know, just anything in that way. I wanted to.
Okay.
Joy.
Wow. So thank you. In 2017, I entered the Delgado songwriting competition, and I won that competition with a couple songs, and that really boosted my confidence. And then I started playing with Cyril Neville, I think in the same year. I got to travel to South Africa and to Ghana. I've never been in the motherland, and that was emotional and it was beautiful. And I met a guitarist there, and just how he played reminded me of how I played. And I felt like, this isn't a mistake. Like, I've been training for this. Like, this is, I am connected to this place. And that's one of my favorite memories. Being featured at the Ogden Museum was also a favorite of mine, because it's not often in the city we get to play to a room full of intentional listeners.
And the acoustics in there
and
are
the acoustics,
so nice.
they just make you feel like a master.
Yeah. They got like church. They got church acoustics in there.
It's church. And, people came there and they were just quietly listening. And I know it's not always going to be like that, but every performer should have some moment like that, especially if you do the kind of music I do. You kind of want people to listen, and it's not always going to happen, but boy, when it does, it's like, okay, I feel like I have these people. And so that was a big moment. And I know I'm missing something, but you asked about.
Well, I'm just kind of curious about just honoring sort of what was before. When you performed at the Ogden, did you have a band with you, or were you solo?
I had Lily Lewis on keys and vocals. I'm always
So good.
I always feel so blessed when I can get Lily to come and play my gigs. And I had bass monster Tiffany Morris on bass, so it was a trio of a sort. And I still have that recording, and I hold it dearly because Paz is great. I don't know if y'all are familiar with Paz, but he produces that show there. And my mom came.
Right?
Yeah,
he's great. Love him.
My mom came to the show, and she doesn't always get to come, and it was just it was an appropriate setting. And man, that's a special memory.
There's so many. I really probably the most recent memorable one for me was it's at the Mahalia Jackson with the LPO. And being able to sing with the entire force of an orchestra behind you it's just a different level of amazing. I mean, and I've played big stages, and I've done, I've done a lot of gigs, but that one was really, really special. I felt like I was flying, and it had been a long time since I was in that, like, when you're on the stage and so present in the moment, you're just like, oh my god, I'm doing this, and you just have this entire vibration of an entire orchestra behind you. It was magical. Ooh. And I really loved working with them. They were all just phenomenal. It was them and the 610 Stompers for the Christmas show, and I just had so much fun.
Wow.
That was the first one that comes to mind. That was a magical night, and a friend of mine took a picture of me. I'm in this fairy costume with an entire orchestra behind me, and she sent it to me, and I had to laugh. I was like, I'm so glad you took this, because I feel like the morning after, I was like, I almost didn't think that this actually happened. I thought it was a dream.
Wow.
So that one was really, really, really special. But prior to that, I miss rocking out, man. I'd released a record with Charlie Wooten. We did our first record together, and it's a really good record, and I really love the work that we did on it, and I really loved being on the road and rocking out the clubs in Atlanta and all over the place. It was really nice. It was really nice to get the different, to feel the vibes of different audiences outside of New Orleans and stuff. So I miss that. Mm-hmm. I miss the road life for sure. But we'll get back to it when the time is right.
When it's safe. When the time is right.
When it's safe, because I'm not trying to. A, I'm not trying to die. B, I'm also not trying to lose my voice. So,
in the meantime, if you want more, and you should, because these are both incredible performers and songwriters. JoyClarkMusic.com and ArseneDelay.com, ArseneDelay.com. This wraps up the first of the 4 MaCCNO Duets, as we're calling them this year. This is the MaCCNO 8th anniversary fundraiser, and while it's not exactly a party, this is its own wonderful special kind of thing. Please go to MaCCNO.com for more information about what we do. And one last time, if you would like to donate, PayPal is at MusicCulture504, Cash App $MusicCulture504, and again, MaCCNO.com. And I just want to say the most, the deepest, the biggest, the highest thank you to Arsène and Joy. Thank you for joining me. And please tune in next Tuesday. We'll be back here at the Hi-Ho with a different, wonderful roster for MaCCNO Duets. Have a good night.